What's up? How's it going? So today I thought I'd talk a little bit about something that's affected me for a long time, and a bit of a warning for anybody who might be doing the same thing to themselves, or just see if anybody else has really experienced this sort of thing. But I just thought I'd talk a bit about it because this is something that really changed my life a lot, for the worse. And I guess there's a lot of people who might be doing this who probably don't even realise it, but I wanted to talk a bit about the dangers of drinking chlorinated water. So my whole life I was somebody who drank a lot of it as a kid, and you know, some of these things, you know, your body can tolerate a certain amount of things for a long time, and eventually it'll get to you. It's like people who live a really unhealthy lifestyle, eventually it catches up to them. Just like drugs and things, you know, some people may say, you know, things like, oh, well, one thing that my neighbour said to me, he's a good friend of mine, sort of stuck with me, was that old sins cast long shadows, and you know, what you reap is what you sow, sort of thing. So eventually, if you have an unhealthy lifestyle, it may end up catching up to you. You know, some people can spend their whole lives thrashing their bodies and not really end up paying for it. But you know, we can never really eliminate risks, disease, body problems from our lives. You know, it's all down to genetics, luck, a whole combination of different things. But the best thing you can really do in the end is to try your best to minimise what you can. And anyway, I'm just rambling on, but for me, I'd always drank the stuff out of a tap because, well, I thought it was healthier to drink a lot of water, which is sort of what a lot of us are really led to believe. And in a lot of cases it is, but it's just like, you know, with a lot of food, you know, it's not just having the healthy stuff, it's to do with whether it really is healthy. And yeah, so I always thought, you know, like pretty much every one of my friends would always drink fizzy drinks. You know, they grow up on like Coke or Fanta or whatever the hell else they have. Yeah, and I'd always look at them and think, you know, that's pretty bad for you, you know. And when it came down to it, I would have probably been better off drinking the friggin' fizzy all my life. But yeah, so what happened was 2 years ago I developed a rather nasty stomach problem, and I didn't know what the hell it was at the time, and I got it at the same time that I had all these neck issues, which I'm going to talk about in another video, to do with posture-related forward neck position. And I think it all hit me at the same time, but but it was like I was going to the gym a lot, and I think this is what really got to me at the time, because I was drinking a hell of a lot more water, because I was somebody who gets quite thirsty between sets, and I'd like drink like a couple of litres, maybe a couple of bottles of it while I was there. And I think that's what really got to me. That's what triggered the whole thing. So it's kind of like, after a while, you know, some people can build up like a tolerance to dairy and things like that. You know, after a while, if you eat like more than you should, it's like salt is a thing that we kind of need in our diet to a point. You know, it's good to have a bit, but you know, it's just like if you have quite a lot of it, eventually you'll get to the stage where you can't have any. It's like these older guys, you know, they live a life of saturated fat, and you know, they get really fat and they eat way too much, and they have a hell of a lot of red meat that's been processed and everything, and they end up having like a gastric bypass and stomach stapling and that, and then they end up getting this operation where they have a belt around their gut where they can barely eat anything. You know, they really limit the amount of food that they can intake. So it's basically overindulgence ends up with not being able to have bugger all of it. But I'm rambling again. But what I'm trying to get at is because of this, I had too much at one point, like because I was drinking so much water, and I think that eventually that kind of broke my gut sort of thing with it. Over drinking, people can actually kill themselves by having too much water. I read about some lady, she was like a mother or something, she was wanting to win her son a PlayStation, for they had some weird competition who could drink the most water, and kid lost his mum over it because she literally drowned herself in it. But this is a completely different thing. What I'm talking about is that chlorinated water is actually really bad for you. I should really go into studies and things like that. But yeah, it's the place where I'm living, the tap water is particularly harsh. Some people say that they find that it makes them feel a bit sick. Like, well, I know somebody who does, and different regions and different towns, water can be worse than others. But here's particularly bad, you know, it gunks up the jugs and things like that when you boil it. But yeah, I'd always drank a lot. It didn't really cause me a problem, I guess, until, like I said, it was probably that I was drinking way too much of it. But, like I said, one day when I had all this happen, it happened with my neck and stuff as well, which was making me feel like hell, but I kind of lost my appetite, and then around the same time, it's weird that it all happened at once, but it was like, imagine drinking, say, a whole, like a container full of nails, or maybe push pins or thumbtacks, you know, and I'd find that the more water I'd drink, the more it'd bloody hurt, and I couldn't understand why. I went to the doctor about it. He couldn't understand why it was just water. I first got put on these pills, which were some kind of anti-nausea type pill. It didn't really help that much, I think. And then I went back to the doctor maybe a week or so later. I think the prescription was for a couple, 1.5 to 2 weeks. Anyway, it's irrelevant. I was put on, I think it's called a PPI, which is omeprazole. It's like, what it does is decrease your stomach acid, because they thought it was the acid that was getting to me. I'll show you all the bloody stuff that I've frickin' gone through at one point. So I was on those pills. Yeah, a lot of people, heaps of people on this stuff, which is it's antacids basically. Probably not the best thing for me, really. I didn't really have reflux or anything, but my stomach was just, like, for a while I couldn't really eat. I ended up losing my appetite. It wasn't just the drinking water that hurt, but I just felt like I lost my appetite with it. And it got to the point where I used to be one of these people who could never really get enough food, you know, when I'd get into a pattern of eating, the more I'd eat, the more I'd want to eat, so I'd have like 3 or 4, probably about 4 meals a day when I was at the gym, plus, you know, some snacks and shit like that. And then I got to the point where, when I lost my appetite, I was dreading mealtime. I would value the time between meals, because I know I was going to sit there with it for like half an hour or something like that, and it'd take me ages to eat it, and I ended up dropping down to, because I had that and because of the stomach issues, not to be gross, but like, I mean, medical stuff doesn't gross me out the way it does, so I can talk about this kind of thing without feeling yuck. I had like stomach upset, diarrhea, things like that, real bad recurrent gas for a while, things that would really get to me, and I ended up, because of having to go to the toilet more than once a day sort of thing, and not eating, I ended up dropping my weight down to 56 kg. I'd seen like tendons, bones sticking out, like, say, parts of the body that I'd never seen before, or not seen in a really long time. Scared the hell out of me when I, you know, you look in the mirror and like look down at your leg and you can see like that kind of, it's like a big tendon down there and things like that, which was visible, and I was just like, shit, this is some kind of cancer or something. I was really freaked out at the time, but like, I'd try for ages to get back, to get weight back on, and to get on, and I'd see myself, I got up to like 62 or something. Felt like just, it was the best feeling just to see myself putting weight on, and I'm gonna write in another video how I managed to do that, but this was all linked to my gut. But anyway, I got onto like, fuck, I had so many things, like I've got practically a chemistry thing in here. Like I took what was it, like I don't know, I got on a lot of vitamins and stuff. I was taking digestive enzymes because of it. The only, like, I had so many blood tests and things when I first got through this like problem, and the only thing that they could tell that I'd was lacking in it all was vitamin B12, which I took a month's worth of supplements, and then it went back to normal. But yeah, I didn't really eat a lot of the type of meat and things that would generally give you that. But it got to the point that eventually, after a long time, I had a thing which is called an endoscopy, or I think they call it a gastroscopy or something. Yeah, and they said when I finally when they decided to give me it, they said, you know, they pretty much thought it would be for mostly for like peace of mind, apart from like actually finding something. But yeah, it's when they put a camera down your throat. So yeah, I had never been in hospital before when I had this. This was like 2 years ago, and I was fucking shit nervous about it, because the only times I'd been in hospital was I went up to the emergency room a few years earlier when I had major back pain. It was like a real bad cramp in my back. When I was sitting in a computer room in town, and by the time they saw me in the actual emergency room, it had gone away. The only other time that I'd ever been up to the hospital ever for myself, I'd never broken anything, was my hand here. There's that scar down there. I got it slit open with a craft knife and sewn up when I was 13 or 14. Yeah, so I was pretty nervous about the whole being sort of out of control of my body, you know, like being asleep, put under, all of that stuff, you know, generally what's fucking scary for a lot of people, you know. I always wondered as a kid, like, how these, like, I don't know, the females who get, like, a whole heap of prosthetic, like, synthetic shit put in their face, and they can just casually sit there having a bunch of needles stuck in their face with, like, Botox, or, you know, they get put under for, like, multiple plastic surgeries. And I'm like, you know, I always thought, you know, avoid hospital as much as you can, you know. You'd never willingly put yourself into, you know, a situation like that. So it was a scary thing for me. But yeah, I will always have a, you know, I will always feel good, like, for my ex for that day, because it was pissing down like it was around that sort of time. And my ex insisted, like, we were together at the time, on taking me up to the hospital, and she stayed with me that whole time. I went in there, and I was like lying down on a thing, and fell asleep in there pretty much, listening to music. And yeah, because I thought originally they were just gonna, you know, they give you something so you feel a bit tired so you can do it, but, you know, I got like the pipe halfway down my throat, and I started sort of like gagging, because you got like a mouth guard kind of thing in there, like keep your mouth open. And I think they must have just given me a bit more of the stuff to put you to sleep or whatever, because I just remember crashing out straight away. And I woke up as I was getting wheeled into the recovery room. I woke up for a few minutes, long enough to take a couple of photos of myself in there with the frickin' thing in my hand and shit. And then I fell back asleep again, and I went home, and I just remember that she just like cooked me food and looked after me for the rest of the day, so I always fucking feel lucky for that. This is my baby. This is Snow. She's 8 years old, and she talks a lot. But But yeah, anyway, they took a biopsy at the same time when they did that, and they didn't find anything, any scarring or any like fucking stomach ulcers or anything, which is weird, but like, but good. So yeah, I had a bunch of other tests, like analysis of blood. I've had full bloods done, fucking every organ done, you know, besides the gut issue and my state of my fucking nails looks bad. I get ridging and shit, which is weird. But like, I've never found anything else in any of the tests, stool or otherwise, blood, that have done this. But what I did find, and what they like eventually really, is that this certain type of water was really what was causing me this harm. So I went back to I started drinking bottled water, which still got to me. So I suggest to anybody who's got a sensitivity with this sort of shit to drink like mineral water. Make sure it's not got like chloride in it or anything like that, because it's a lot better for your stomach. But the bottled water was a lot better for me, but the milk, that doctor at the start, they thought it was really weird that milk sort of didn't affect me, but I think milk and stuff has it's like alkaline, so that's like a lot better for your stomach, you know, it's not as harsh. So yeah, and then I switched on to like just drinking a lot of juice all the time, but I don't really recommend it as it's got a shitload of sugar in it. You just like get some water and then just like put a bit of juice or lemon in it, because lemon's actually quite good for your gut, I think. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is one day I was out watering my plants sort of thing, and I filled up a bottle of like spring water type shit I buy from the supermarket with stuff out of the tap just to water the plants, and I accidentally picked up that bottle later on thinking that it was just the normal water, and I got this rotten frickin' pain in my gut for like a couple of days on and off, like cramping. So yeah, stuff out of the tap water, like the chlorinated water, can be really bad for you. I'm just saying, like, not everybody's going to experience this problem, but a lot of people who drink it aren't going to be drinking it as a primary source of water, like as you know, a liquid, because most people I know anyway drink a lot of fizzy or other shit, so they're not going to be drinking it all the time and for years. So eventually it'll really get to you. It might do anyway. So I'm just saying, you know, I wouldn't want people to go through the same shit that I went, because my stomach is still really sensitive to certain things. It was really good for a while, because I'd find that sucking my gut in, as opposed to like letting it hang, that really helped, and it also helped by just having drinking other kinds of stuff, you know. Funny enough, alcohol was always fine with me. It didn't really get to me. Just the stuff out of the tap. Yeah. But yeah. What's bad about the water anyway is that it, you know, they put a lot of chlorine in it to basically neutralize the bacteria and shit that's in water. And the problem with this is that it can also kill your beneficial gut bacteria. Leaving it without the right things to say digest can cause other intestinal problems and stuff like that. I think there's a massive amount of gut problems that today's people have. Like it's really prevalent with what we eat, you know, because people put a lot of things in food, not really caring about, you know, they're all for money and mass production of food, rather than caring about the health, you know, of the people consuming it. So we've got all things like that. We can develop allergies to certain things. There's a lot of preservatives and everything these days compared to what there used to be. So yeah, I'm kind of going off subject, but I'm just saying that this stuff can be really bad for you, for your gut. There's been quite a few studies on it. So yeah, if you're somebody who does it, just make sure and you know, maybe consider getting a subscription to like spring water or something like that, because eventually if you know, it's like drink it for a while, you'll be alright, but you might eventually end up you know, destabilizing your own beneficial bacteria and stripping your gut of the good things that it has in it. So yeah, I mean, I had a problem it's been an ongoing thing for a long time, and I wouldn't really want anybody else to go through the same kind of bullshit that I have. So yeah, it can be really bad for you, fucking drinking that stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna go outside and fucking do something, but yeah, I don't really know that many other people have been affected by this sort of thing, so I just thought I'd make this because, you know, most people probably don't even really give it a second thought. But yeah, from what I've seen and everything that I've researched on it, is that it can actually cause a lot of health issues. So, you know, it's better to get things out the way and kind of let's say take care of yourself while you can. You know, don't wait till it's too late. Have a good day.